Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. You're listening to the RepcoLite Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Benjamin Moore. And before I get into the show today, I got to tell you, I saw something this past week, 2 different times. I saw 2 different people who are so inspiringly, you know what I'm trying to say, optimistic. Do you know what they were doing that made me think that? They were preparing their snowblowers for storage. Yeah, they were running the gas out of the machines and then getting them all shut down until next winter. Now, I don't know about that. We've had some wonderful weather. I get that, and I sincerely hope that I'm wrong. But I can't think of a spring break, an April spring break for the kids in, elementary through high school. Normally, that's first week of April. I can't think of a spring break that didn't involve snow. Now, certainly, we maybe won't get enough snow to need a snowblower. Maybe that's what they're thinking. That won't happen this late in the season, right? That's impossible for us to get that much snow. We can just shovel what comes, right? Well, I was assuming that. I assumed that's what these 2 people were thinking. And then I did a little Googling, and I found this interesting little fact from 1 stinking year ago. I don't even remember this. I have blocked it out. But 1 year ago in West Michigan, here's the headline from the story. Record snowfall across West Michigan on Friday. East Grand Rapids received 8.3 inches of snow. And that was from March 22 of 2024. So when I read that fun little fact, I did a little more digging into my own personal records. And guess what? I put my snowblower away for the season last year, the week before that record snowfall. Coincidence? Oh, I don't think so. There are no such things. So this year, to help us all avoid that late season snowfall, I'm keeping my snowblower gassed up and ready to go. I'm not superstitious, but I'm thinking if I do that, that's going to keep the snow away, right? So do with it what you want. Don't forget, though, to run the fuel out of your snowblower before you store it or add fuel stabilizer, whichever route you go. Just make sure that when you do that, winter's done. Don't spit in winter's face. Winter doesn't like that. Just wait until we're sure that he's gone for the year. Then make sure you remember to prepare your equipment for storage. All right, that's enough of that. On the show today, I've got an interview that I recorded with Mike Cherry, the owner of Cherry Painting, and I'm going to air a portion of that full conversation, and there's a lot of ground we cover. Everything from how Mike got started in the business, to his favorite tips and tricks, to some of his favorite concerts. He's a music buff, and we're going to get into all kinds of interesting things in that conversation. That's coming up. Now, in the last little bit that I've got here in this opening segment, I want to continue trying to demystify the roller cover aisle. Last week, we talked about the best roller covers to use on common surfaces. This week, let's look at the different nap thicknesses, which is just a fancy way of saying how thick and fluffy the roller cover is. Which one's the right one to choose for your project. Well, let's look at them more closely and see. All right, the 3/16 inch nap. It's basically a super short nap, and it's great for glossy finishes where you want as little roller texture as possible. But here's the catch. It doesn't hold very much paint at all. So unless you've got a specific reason, you're probably not going to want to use this for walls. So potentially cabinets, doors, situations like that. But if you listened last week, you remember that I talked about Wooster's microplush covers. Those microplush covers are thicker naps than the 3/16 nap that we're talking about here, but the fibers are so densely packed that those are pretty much our go-to recommendations when it comes to things like cabinets, doors, and trim. So 3/16 inch nap covers, they're seeing a little less use these days, but still, they're out there, and now you know why you'd use one. Now, next up, we've got a 3/8 inch nap. Now, if you're painting walls, this is pretty much your go-to. It holds a good amount of paint, it applies it evenly, and it keeps lap lines to a minimum. Basically, it helps you work efficiently without creating a textured finish. That's the 3/8 inch nap, your go-to for walls. Now, a 1/2 inch nap, if you're painting a textured ceiling, a rough wall, brick, even block wall in a basement, you need something thicker than those 3/8 inch nap covers, and that's where this 1/2 inch nap comes in. It carries more product and helps you get into those nooks and crannies much easier. Now, the last one we'll look at are the 3/4 inch nap covers and thicker. If you're painting extra rough surfaces, stucco, brick exteriors, super uneven surfaces, this is where you'd probably use one of these. So how do you choose which is right for you for your project? Well, here's the general rule. Use the shortest snap that will work for what you're doing. Don't go thicker unless you actually need it. And again, if you're not sure, just ask us. And remember, Wooster Pro Doozy FTP roller covers are on sale at a great price for the rest of the month at RepcoLite. So if you're a painting contractor, it's a perfect time to stock up on high-quality supplies at a really good discount. If you're a DIYer, even if you don't have a paint project lined up right now, grabbing a few premium roller covers is a really smart move. When the next painting project does come up, whether it's planned or unexpected, sometimes those pop up, when that happens, you'll be ready with top-tier tools. You're not going to be scrambling or settling for lower quality options. You'll have good covers waiting to go. And remember, we talked about it last week, a cheap or inferior roller cover can make the best paint, the most expensive paint in the world, look bad. The cover is definitely not the place to skimp to save a few bucks. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I'll be chatting with Mike Cherry from Cherry Painting. That's next. Stick around. Welcome back to the RepcoLite Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Benjamin Moore. And right now, I've got something new that I've been working on for a while. On a daily basis at RepcoLite, we work with some of the best painting contractors in the industry. And from time to time, I've had a few of them on the show here. But moving forward, into this year, 2025, I want to shift gears a little bit. And I want to use the radio show to shine a spotlight on many of these painting companies, as many as I can connect with. I think it's a really good way that we can say thank you to them, that RepcoLite can say thank you to them by just sitting down and talking with them and letting them tell their story to a large audience. So that's really good. But it's also really good for you as listeners. You can use these spotlight interviews that I'm going to be playing throughout the year, not every week, but throughout the year. Use them as an opportunity to conduct your own interviews of these contractors. Unless you've got a painting contractor that you've worked with in the past, it can be a little daunting to try to find the right company to hire the next time you need some painting done. These interviews and discussions should really help you determine which companies you find yourself connecting with. It's a long-form discussion, and by the end, you're really going to have a good idea of who each company is, who each person is, how they work, and if they could be the right company to hire the next time you need some painting done. All right, with all of that said, today's interview is with Mike Cherry, the owner of Cherry Painting, and if you like what you hear, there's plenty more, a whole lot more. You can catch the full interview on our YouTube series, The Interviews. Just head to RepcoLite's YouTube page and check it out. All right, that's enough of that. Let's jump into my conversation with Mike Cherry from Cherry Painting. All right, let's start at the beginning. Your dad, I know, played a role in you becoming a painter.
Still plays it.
Still plays that.
Yeah, still plays the role of whatever chief executor. He's pretty on call all the time. I got a question here and there and what they did, and obviously paint's advanced in the since he started back in the late 70s.
Because he was doing this first,
He
right?
was doing it on the side. Yep, he did it on the side with a friend of his. They were doing some suburban Detroit stuff, Milford area, Waterford, Mott now, all that area that was developing. It's still developing now, but really developing back in the late 70s, early 80s. Boom. So they were going subdivision to subdivision. Young kids. My dad was an 18-year-old kid, I believe, at the time, 17, 18, and just working on a crew that his friend's brother started.
Okay.
Went on to get a degree. He taught for 35, 36 years.
At what level?
He was a high school, so he was...
So he's high school teaching in the summers, he's painting.
Correct.
Real common. We see a lot of
Yep. That, and I see construction guys doing some of that too. They come in and they'll paint in the wintertime when they're off. So, but yeah, anyway, he did that for my whole life. I'm just turned 32, so as long as I've known my dad, he's painted in the summertime. So enjoyed it. I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
So when did you start with him?
So I was probably 13, 14 years old. He was really good. My brother and I were really active in sports. So my brother went on to be a college athlete and running and stuff and All-American and all that kind of thing.
People would have to be chasing me to get me to
that's what everybody
even then I'd have to debate.
Sure.
Is this really worth what?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad one of us could do that. I was just not gifted like that. So he's got a great job, 5th grade position in Grand Haven now. Loves it.
Your brother?
Yep.
So he teaches as well?
He teaches as well.
Is your dad still teaching?
Dad retired 3 years. This will be 3 years in June.
Okay,
He's
so
out.
brother teaches 5th grade.
5th grade, yep. His wife teaches. My aunt aunt taught. My cousins both teach, one in Utah, one in Shelby, Hart area. It's my degree, got a degree in teaching. Along, the dad and backstory. Yeah. He didn't really want us to like it. So, in fact, I hated it.
Mission accomplished, Dad.
He did. He made us hate it. We had not like super long, but 10 hours as a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, it feels like an eternity.
Well, and again, how many closets can you do? It's where he let us do closets, That's about where he trusted us, but it was either running long hours or long distances during the weekends and after school and then, of course, summer break. If you don't want to get a job, then you better get good at something. So, now all these years later, I'm so blessed that he took me in and had me do that with him.
So how long did you do that with him until you decided?
Off and on. I wasn't, like I said, I didn't really like it. And again, how many closets can you do to where you go, wow, where am I going to progress into the next thing? I didn't know how to.
So you weren't looking at it as, okay, I'm going to build this into something. You're looking for another
Not a chance. There was a goal for sure to get a degree in something at that point. A 14-year-old kid, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Sometimes I still don't know what I want to do. No, so we went to high school and finished really well in my class and got a pretty good scholarship academically to Grand Valley State and then finished with a teacher. I still like teaching. It was just a matter of could I do this for 35 plus years.
So did you start teaching?
Started teaching, yep.
So you had a position.
I was actually
what grade?
I was secondary ed as well. Okay, social studies is my major and a history minor. I didn't become real versed in picking my minor, but I just loved history. So I went, went that whole route and decided I did 2 years of long-term sub positions, had a few full-times across the state that had offers to go and just didn't want to move, liked it here. I had a longtime girlfriend at the time, and I just did not want to go across the state. I love my family here. I love West Michigan. This is where I want to put down my roots. So, patience, right? Patience. And then, I don't know, probably 3 years of just subbing all over Newaygo County, Oceana County too. And I think I just got burnt out, and I just wasn't sure academics was my thing. So what do you do now? Right? What are you going to do now, son?
Gulp.
Dad is going, you got to pay this money back and yada, yada, yada. And then COVID hits and we have the whole COVID deal and you don't have to pay your loans right now. And again, long stories, but fall back on what was something I thought I hated was painting. So then the cash flow comes in, and now I'm 18 at the time or 19 and going, ooh, I like that cash. Yeah. It's pretty quick. And we were in and out and, a week on a full home and a repaint and just doing walls. And so I liked that money. And then it became the people, starting to talk to people. Here I'm coming
Still working with your dad at this
Still working with my dad, yep. But we're talking homeowners, and you're starting to go to the trades. And at this time, I was pretty heavily into Sherwin-Williams. Okay. I just had got into went that route.
Yeah. Then you saw the light.
I saw the light. I had Aaron Van Dalsen. I'll give him a shout out. He's my rep. And I don't know where it was. Somewhere I was doing a house on Lake Michigan, an exterior. And Aaron Van Dalsen gave me his card or something. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. And, hey, mind if I come out and take a look like salesmen do?
Yeah.
And been one of the best decisions I've made professionally was that right there.
What? Just letting him stop out and talk to him?
Yep. And that was
Why?
it.
What was so good about that?
Aaron's just a great guy in general. Very approachable. I don't know if he feels like he found his calling. I hope he does, because he's got it. He's got the personal skill, the people skill. We really like working with him. So that was probably just it. Not really. To me, paint sometime is paint. But again, back to the people. I was getting another rep every 6 months against, hey, I'm so-and-so. Hey, I'm Bob. I'm Bob here. You new sales. Well, what happened to Joe? Or fill in the blank name. So I didn't like that. I was really not into that game as much. So I get in with RepcoLite. I'm out of Muskegon, Port City. Abe.
Yeah, they've been
Roy. I don't think he's gonna outlive me. So he's gonna keep going. And Abe and Ryan up there and Aaron and Riley. It's just a good crew. So
and it's steady. It's they don't go away.
No,
we don't have a lot of turnover. And I know that's such a big deal.
It's been a lot of fun. I hope it continues. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere they're obviously not going anywhere.
So when did you start off on your own, or does your dad work for you now?
Yeah, he's pretty much retired. Occasionally he'll come out. He likes to prime. He likes to come out and prime, runs a sprayer. Sometimes I like to get him a workout for back roll and ceilings. He'll like to do that.
Have him do some closets or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Turn the tables on him.
Sure. Yeah, we transitioned into that. Got really lucky. Dave Deuce Custom Homes, where I've been the last probably 3 years. Took a chance on me. So we and my dad at the time, and that blossomed into going from bathrooms, literally bathrooms and residential repaints of walls and ceilings, very little trim at that time. And it's been new construction ever since. I don't like paving paradise to put up a parking lot. I don't like that. But I do like the money.
Yeah, it's always that balance.
Sure.
How much can I tolerate?
Sure.
Enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
I know. My grandparents had a big, before I was even around, had big swaths of land and stuff that's starting to develop, and you hate to see that, but.
Well, you're not developing it. You're just making it look good.
You're right.
No, it's going to be there anyway. It might as well look good.
I tell everybody, I can't stop this from happening. I just got to go along for the ride. So, again, I'm blessed for that. So yeah, my dad's kind of transitioned out of, he's just an elder, right? He's my dad. He's really, between my dad and my brother, best friends. We never really got, dad, father, son get a little heated when now your son is your quote boss, which I never like to. I
don't ever want to experience that.
Nope, and I would
Unless
never.
my son's loaded.
Yeah.
He gives me a really good lucrative position.
No, I never want to, and I hope my dad never felt that way, like I was watching over him, that kind of thing. He's the one that taught me, right?
Yeah.
So there's no.
That is a weird dynamic.
It's a very weird dynamic how dude is, teaching me to walk and talk and.
How do you get after your dad?
Yeah, how do you get after your own dad? And I think for me, it's just sometimes it's a speed thing. It's like, I want it done. You got to do it right. And he knows to do it correct. But now there's that fine line between speed and, how I can't have you taking 2 days to,
Dad,
fill and
you're
sail
slow.
these.
We're going to have to let you go.
Dad, I really don't want to have to let you go here, but no.
That's awesome.
No,
that's
so
crazy.
yeah, so he just kind of transitioned out a little bit. He's enjoying his retirement. He's traveling quite a bit.
Yeah.
He developed Parkinson's. He had Parkinson's, diagnosed with Parkinson's about, this is probably year 6 now.
Okay.
And so I think that's a very big eye opener for all of us in our family. So he's just loving. He lost both his folks last year. 2024 is a tough year for us as a family.
Yeah,
and,
my goodness.
Him, and his so I think he just. I don't want to say you see that light dimmering, right? I don't want to say that, but you only have so much time to do the things you want to do.
Right.
And not that he doesn't want to play second hand to his son in some house in Muskegon County, but boy, there's a lot of United States, there's a lot of world out there to do.
Now, my dad had a heart attack, 3 years ago or so. And it was one of those things. He was so healthy, always doing something. He's hauling something out of the basement, a big piece of furniture,
Yeah.
Because that's what he does. He just completely pushes himself beyond what's normal.
That's what our dads do.
Passes out at the top of the steps. Complete eye opener. Open heart surgery, and I was doing well again. But it was that wake up call where you think, man, you take so much for granted. Especially when your parents are clicking along just fine.
Right.
Man, you just don't know what's coming. You want to make the most of what you've got.
And I'm so glad he's able to do that.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get back to more of my interview with Mike Cherry from Cherry Painting. Stick around. And we're back. You're listening to the RepcoLite Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Benjamin Moore. And we're going to jump back into my interview with Mike Cherry, owner of Cherry Painting. But before I get things moving again, I want to remind you that there's much more to the interview. You can catch all of it in glorious full-color video on RepcoLite's YouTube page. Just check out our new series, The Interviews. All right, let's get back to Mike Cherry from Cherry Painting. You're a huge music guy.
Oh, yeah.
Concerts. You've seen everybody from the Rolling Stones to Paul McCartney.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, that's about as big as it gets for me. What's been the best concert experience that you've had?
Because I said you mentioned, and I mentioned in our interview, the questionnaire you gave me, so many. I'm trying to think on my way here even how many I had been to at the young and energetic age of 32. Why is a 32-year-old loving the Stones, right? Or even Paul McCartney and
because they're all very good.
they're all very, very good. And I guess, again, my dad instilled in me, or sometimes a lot of people listen to their dad's stuff too, or mom's stuff my mom loves Heart and, and I love it too, and I don't know, it never left me. That never, ever left. I kept listening. Classic rock. Step in any job site, and they're listening to some classic rock. There's a couple headbangers in there, and occasionally we got some gospel going on over here, and it's different floors.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their job site radio.
Yeah,
Which
pretty cool.
floor are you on today? So I never have to bring my radio. I never have to bring anything because
Milk off of somebody else.
Sure.
And you can tolerate the music. You like the music, whatever.
I love every one of them. I've seen everything. I just saw Chris Daughtry.
Daughtry. Is he
American Idol?
American Idol?
Yeah. He's top.
Okay.
I think he was 10th or something in American Idol.
Well, when did you see Paul McCartney?
Oh man, must have been. He was in Grand Rapids. For those listening, help me out.
He was in Grand Rapids.
He was in Grand Rapids.
Where was I at this?
I know. You know what? So many people have said that. Like, I can't believe I didn't go. And you know who really wanted to go most out of all this? My dad's a massive Beatles fan. My mom. She wanted us to go as a family. I was probably 17, 18. Again, the date is on there somewhere. We can find it on Google. But he came, and I think my mom just said, well, he's never going to come to Grand Rapids again. And, of course, I'm thinking, nah, he's probably going to come to Grand Rapids. Van Andel's pretty big, and I think my mom was right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
she will ever.
Did you all go as a group?
We all went, my brother, myself.
Did she scream?
Nope, she didn't scream as much. I think my dad cried a little bit.
Okay, your dad
I didn't
cried.
Yeah. I don't think, I think I did probably cry during Let It Be. I get my emotions from my dad.
Yeah.
It was just, again, something I,
That's
at the
amazing.
time, said I listened to it my whole life.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a 70-year-old man or a 60-year-old man or a 50-year-old man that had listened to it his whole life. But I listened since I was, old enough to listen to music, 10 years old or something, that my dad would have Let It Be, right?
Yeah.
The angels came down, I think, at that. We're sitting in our row, probably just sitting in all of
cool.
Van Andel Arena.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So whenever he was there, I just saw the Stones last June, I believe it was, down at Cleveland. So I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and saw the Stones, and we had great seats. Another friend of mine, another guy I painted his house, become really good friends with. My dad was friends with. We're going to see the Stones together. So it was him and his son. My dad actually did have open heart surgery that week, so he was not able to go. We were all supposed to go. He was not good. He had a triple bypass, totally unexpected. Obviously, we're glad he caught that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Caught it before that could have got really bad.
And there.
Like you mentioned. Yeah. So he wasn't able to go, but we said hopefully it comes around again. But yeah, so the Stones, Stevie Nicks a couple times.
Anyone jump out at you as like that?
Circle back around. Jackson Browne is my dad and I's favorite. Definitely was my dad's favorite. It became my favorite probably because of my dad. We love James Taylor and Jackson Browne. It was just, those are the two, and they've always stuck out to me. That was probably my favorite. We saw them third row at Van Andel. Jackson Browne actually opened for James Taylor. This was right after COVID. Masks.
I remember this one when it happened.
Yep, had to have a mask on, of course, and it was just like, maybe that was part of it too. We had all
You
this.
like the masks?
No.
Oh,
no.
You've been caged in.
I've been caged.
Well,
we couldn't do anything. Couldn't even go to get a burger, downtown or so a lot of that stuff we take for granted now.
Oh yeah.
I hope people do not. But I did, and we couldn't do it. And guess what else we couldn't do? Go to concerts, right? Full of 10,000 people or whatever they fit at Van Andel. So we had that right after COVID. So it was just like,
sure,
and then to have both your guys, right? Both your guys you listened to, that my dad listened to, and learn to play guitar from those guys. That was probably my most important memory.
Yeah, that's really cool. So getting back to paint stuff,
Sure.
I'm curious. You got a lot of people out there listening, DIYers and stuff like that. We haven't talked about this. I'm curious about just some practical ideas. What's the number one? If you would think of like rookie mistakes that people make that the DIYers out there could be stumbling through and could probably try to avoid.
Man, the advancements in paint itself is gone way, just since I have not been painting as long as many of you listening, and way more than I do. I just think our tools are huge, and I'll maybe think of something this is a great question, by the way. Frog tape, for example. Let's just go down the road of
about frog tape.
Let's go down just in our tools. There are painters that I know, and we won't mention any of their names, that don't like frog tape, and I just don't understand it, or don't want to spend the money for it, and we'll go with the original blue or so. I don't know. Or some of you that are going, oh my gosh, I can't believe you still use tape. What do you mean? Those guys that don't. I can nobody cuts straighter than tape except me kind of thing.
Let's talk about, frog tape first off. For anybody out there who's not aware, it's a special tape that's got, it's chemically altered so that when the water from the water-based paint hits the edge of the tape, it seals it.
Yep.
And it's guaranteed, or it's designed to prevent that paint bleed through. That's so frustrating.
It happens. It's still going to happen. If your baseboards are clean, you're taking a damp rag before your baseboard, dust settles on it. I'm not going to say it's impossible to get a bleed, because it's still going to happen. A paint bleed's inevitable. It's going to happen. But it's much harder now with that
particular tape.
So I love the Frog Blue because I can get them in 6-packs, 1 inch or 0.9, 4 inch.
Yeah, there's blue, there's green, and yellow. They all do different things. We've talked about them on the show multiple times.
Yeah. And
so you use the blue.
I love the blue because I can get them in 6-packs, a little bit cheaper. You don't have to buy the green with the hard case. To me, that's the premium, right? It's the I would use that if I absolutely thought I didn't trust myself for some reason. The blue, I just love it. You can get them in 6-packs. Yeah. My Contractor deal, and
so
I love them.
What about those folks who are saying, like you said, there are people hollering at their phones or however they're listening to this that they don't tape. They get that clean line without. You tape. Do you tape on everything, or
not everything? Yeah. I mean, if it's most new constructions, of course, no one's taping their ceiling. Some that do. No offense to anybody that's a do-I wire that doesn't feel like they can cut a straight line on your ceiling. By all means, whatever gets the job done. There's not a wrong way, right way. The only right way is your way and what you are happy with.
Yeah, and I'm saying the wrong way is forcing yourself into a system or a mode of operation that's outside of what you're really comfortable doing in order to mimic what you think somebody else who's a professional should be doing. We're not professionals.
Or that told you that's the only way.
So you do what you got to do.
Yeah, there is no only way in probably anything. Just ask YouTube. Type in at YouTube. There's a bunch of different ways to do things. I just love frog tape, and as far as troubleshooting and stuff, I like to use a little wet rag before. I know it seals the paint a little better, or seals the tape a little. So you'll
get the tape down, and then you'll hit it with a wet rag.
And I'm not saying some people think they're going to soak it. Yeah, don't do that. I would not do that. You don't want to just soak that paper. But yeah, just lightly before you go around with your first coat. That will ensure a definite better seal. You can actually feel a difference when you go to peel it.
You're just pre-activating that chemical
polymer, whatever it is.
Polymer that's going to
exactly
seal.
I didn't know that. I think they probably do show that now on frog tapes. Sometimes, demonstration, they'll actually show that. Somebody told me, another painter told me that. So I gave it a try, and he was right. It's one of those. Thank you, whoever told me that. If you're listening, thank you so much, because I use it.
Do you think that it speeds up? Because the argument is going to be that I can go way faster just cutting in by eye.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's the case for some people.
Sure.
But for you feel like you're faster taking the time, or is it just that you're more efficient? You get a better job.
Yeah, I think I'm super addicted to getting the best job I can get. And I'm my own worst enemy sometimes, where if this takes me a little bit longer, and of course time's money. Yeah, we all know that in this trade, or any trade again. If it sacrifices my time, if I'm going a little faster and it's sacrificing the results of this job, it's someone's dream home that we're dealing with here. Whether it's sold or not, it's somebody's going to purchase this. And I always worry about what someone else is thinking. Or somebody's going to see that later on. They might not see it right away and wonder, that guy just cut that corner. Whether they say that or not, it's in my mind they're going to say that, so it drives me nuts. So a little bit of perfectionist there, but just do your best. That's what I
and use the tools that are available.
Sure.
So frog tape, other tools that jump out at you.
I mean, just everything from a real quality brush. Again, use quality stuff. It goes longer if you clean it out. You do it the correct way, and your job, I think, in my opinion, is going to benefit from that. The homeowner is going to benefit from that.
And let's take a break right there, and then after the commercials, we'll be back for the conclusion of my interview with Mike Cherry from Cherry Painting. Stick around. And we're back. We are absolutely just cruising right along. You're listening to the RepcoLite Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Benjamin Moore. And I've got the conclusion to my interview with Mike Cherry, owner of Cherry Painting. But again, one more time, before I get to that interview, I want to remind you that there's much more, like 35 more minutes of content, a lot of good fun stuff, and you can catch all of it on RepcoLite's YouTube page. Just check out our new series, The Interviews. All right, here's the conclusion of my interview with Mike Cherry from Cherry Painting. So different products. What about paint? And, I talk about this because I'm marketing paint and selling paint. And so I know how people potentially listen to that.
Yep.
I'm the guy selling it. You're the guy buying it.
Yep.
You just talked about frog tape, talked about brushes, all of that. The good stuff matters. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about paint? I don't know what you're going to say on this.
Yeah, all right. I'll this is open the can of worms. Right?
Yeah, let's just see.
Somebody will go, "What in the world are you talking about?" And this and this. There's a definite. And I struggle like everybody because I'm the one trying to sell it to a homeowner. You sell it to me.
Yep.
I have something that I might like that it rolls off the brush well or feeling, what's got the most washability for the least sheen, right? Everybody's looking for that perfect scenario, that perfect paint. Can I still get it for $30 a gallon? No. Try double, and then we'll work. I've really become, I have a deep appreciation for Carefree. RepcoLite's Carefree. I'm getting at a great deal. I feel like the eggshell's got some decent washability. The homeowner wins. It looks great. I like it because I'm winning a little bit. And, I mean, if we both win here, what's the trade-off?
Right.
Is it going to scrub like ScuffX? No, absolutely not. If you wanted that, then go with ScuffX. But that middle ground for me is that Carefree. Do I use ScuffX on every single one of my trim jobs, regardless of price? Yes, that's all I use. It's what I love to use. It looks great to me. It's my go-to. The DIYers painting your old home. How do you justify $70 a gallon paint? Well, it's gonna last. It's gonna look great. Your kids can beat the heck out of it. You should be able to scrub it quite easily without seeing a massive sheen change and all that kind of thing. So yeah, back to that main part of your question. Get the best that you can afford.
Like you said, the thing that I always try to make the case, because my default position is money saving, on everything that I buy. And as I get older, I get wiser, and you realize that it's worth spending the extra because it's going to last longer. Now, I can't spend the extra on everything. I still have to make adjustments. So you still have to make those decisions. Where can I, afford to make the cuts? And that's why the secondary bedrooms and things like that, closets, can be different products.
Yep.
But when you talk about, okay, I'm going to drop the big bucks, I'm going to get ScuffX, big bucks, but it feels big in terms of a gallon of paint. And I'm going to put that on, as a DIYer, especially thinking about it that way, the amount of work, using a quality paint, it applies easier usually. So it's going to be either the same amount of work or easier a little bit to use a better product.
Yep.
You're not going to have to do it nearly as often.
Correct.
That's the downside with the cheaper thing. You may save some money. The work is the same,
Yep.
and you're doing it quicker again. So if you don't love doing it, drop that extra ahead of time, and you'll save money in the long run.
And a lot of you, if you're listening to the show, you actually like painting. You're actually, or at least you're interested in the trade, or like I said, doing your own home. So
you find the best thing you can afford.
I think so. That's if I'm going to give someone a suggestion. Yeah, get the best that you can afford.
No, that's good advice. And when people are hiring contractors, they're contacting you. Now you're working for a builder, but do you have any advice out there for people who are looking to hire somebody? What are some things they should be looking for? What are maybe some red flags that you would see.
In the workers, you mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking in the people that they're trying to get a contractor into their home.
Sure.
What should they be looking for?
So red flags for me, I mean, you can tell right away a personality of somebody and how you're going to go. And there's some guys that are amazing salesmen that are painters that are going to sell you on something. They've never done it. They'll fake it till you make it. Beware of those, but they're there. Those guys are there. Those women are there. They can sell you on a great job, and whether you get that is going to be in time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does, and you got a heck of a deal. I'm not the cheapest guy, but I promise you're going to be happy when I leave, and that just doesn't mean with your job. You clean hands and then the smiles and our personality, and anybody that I bring onto the crew is going to treat you like it's their home. And like I've mentioned a little bit before, I have now gone, we're going to the Rolling Stones with fans. I'm going to Chicago music, usually around music.
With people that hired you.
With people that I didn't know ahead of time. Next thing you know, we're best friends. And I'm not tooting my own horn there or anything. I just think once you can develop that relationship with them, with homeowners, and it's not always going to be that, right? Someone's going to pay you via Venmo or something off the bat, and then they're never going to talk to you again. Please pass on my name. That's the main thing. That $600 stairwell I did, or fill in the blank job you did for them, is great right now. But if they don't say, hey, Bob's Builder did a great job on this, and he blah, 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 and he was clean, and they were friendly, and you'll really like them, then your business just stopped. That $600,
I think that's really important. That's really something that I think a lot of people probably don't think about. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about that. And I think it's probably something super easy that we can do as homeowners, because we've all had, I haven't had people come and paint in the house because I would do that. But there's other things where I've had people come in. Yep. And I've been so thrilled with the work, and I've thanked them immensely. I've sent them a really nice email, and that's all really good.
Yep.
But what I could do that's really going to help turn things around is give their name out.
Exactly. Obviously you need that money, okay? You got to pay your bill for that month. But the bills don't stop coming. Your mortgage doesn't stop. And maybe some of you, again, paid it off. Awesome. But you need a new car. $300 is not out of the question anymore to go to the grocery store. You're working for that next suggestion, that next referral. Mm-hmm. So,
with that said, do you want to give your name out, your contact info?
Yeah,
if people want to reach out.
Yeah, you can www.cherry-painting.com, and I've got all my stuff. I'm getting a little better at updating that and updating the website. You can get me at cherrympainting@gmail.com, or even 231-225-5032 is my cell.
Thanks, Mike, for hanging out.
Anytime, man. I really appreciate this opportunity.
And that's going to do it. That's all the time we've got. If you want to catch this episode again, you can find it online at RepcoLite.com. And while you're there, make sure you check out our other episodes, as well as our blog and all of the other ridiculously cool stuff that we've got there. And if you're a painting contractor and you would like to be featured on our show in an upcoming episode, please reach out and let me know. I'd love it. You can contact me at radio@repcolite.com. Just send me an email and we'll get things moving. And really, if you've got a painting contractor that you love working with, maybe you're not a painting contractor, but you've hired a really, really good one and you'd like to recommend that they get some airtime, just send me an email with that info and let me know. Again, it's radio@repcolite.com. Everybody wins when we highlight great companies like Cherry Painting. Mike gets some good exposure, and you get introduced to some of the best painting contractors in our area. All right, whatever you do today, make sure paint's a part of it. And remember, your next painting project is way easier than you think. Stop out at any RepcoLite Paints and let us help. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll see you next week. I'm Dan Hansen. Thanks for listening.